In this video, let's take a look at the accountability anchor and how you can interact with that within Florian. So along the right-hand side here, you can see this personnel panel. This is what we call our accountability anchor. And this really houses so much more than just who is on scene. You'll be able to see your personnel that are on scene. You'll also be able to see personnel that are en route. So if we click on this phone here, something that the accountability anchor houses is what we call our focus feature. So say that right now we have a resource or personnel that are en route and we see they have an ETA of 30 minutes. We understand that's a little unrealistic, but just for the purposes of this demonstration in this video, I'm using my personal cell phone. So I have this incident in Niagara Falls, New York. And as we see, if we go ahead and click on this resource here, this is going to utilize the focus feature. So it's immediately going to zip directly to where that resource is. So I personally am in Buffalo, New York right now. If we zoom out, we can see that dot there. And then we can see our other resources all the way here in Niagara Falls. So what it's allowing us to know is that my phone has a 30-minute ETA to that incident. And we simply did that by focusing and using that focus feature of clicking on the resource. So I'm going to unclick that and say if I wanted to return to the incident rather quickly, I can just click on this engine 37 and it's going to zip me right back to the area where that incident is taking place. So as you see, the accountability anchor, it has several different features that are quite powerful. Now we can see the ETA. We can also see how long people have been on scene. So we'll see this little ETA here that lets us know people en route. If there isn't, it's usually a timer or a count up in terms of deployment. So these resources have been on scene for 14 minutes, and we know that by looking at this timer here. If I were to utilize something like the area feature, we can also show how we can count down. Let's create a rehab area over here, and let's make that timer 25 minutes. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down here, make this timer 25 minutes. And we're going to say we'd like a notice after 25 minutes, and we'll name that rehab. So I'm just going to hide my camera real quick so that you can see that. We've named it rehab, we made it operational, and we made a simple notice and a timer of 25 minutes. So if I were to go ahead and click save, now the status is not going to change just yet, but you see that we show that they are within a zone, and that is now counting down. So in 25 minutes, a notice is going to appear for these personnel or these resources. So let's just show what that looks like over the course of this video. Let's make that timer 5 minutes. Let's say it's a rehab zone and we want to know how long people have been in there for 5 minutes. Obviously this updates. So while we talk a little bit more about some of the features, this will continue to count down. So we can go ahead and collapse, or we can expand all of our resources. If I want to see everybody within a specific team or a group, I can click this number over here, and that'll show me everybody. And as you see, they appear on screen as well. I'm going to hide our tool tray there. And now if I were to just want to look at the officer, I can collapse them. And just by clicking just solely this arrow right here, we're going to see that that opens up just the officer. So now we have a nice condensed view, and we get sort of a proximity, location, and understanding of where those resources may be without having to have the noise of all three dots moving on screen. So I'm going to collapse those down. I'll show you the same thing with rescue. We can see essentially just where the officers are. It's a very, very useful feature in terms of cleaning up the space. So I see our timer has reached 3 minutes here. So just in another about 2.5 minutes, that's going to pop, and you'll see how that notice takes place. So while we wait for that, we're going to see another feature that is very, very useful is what is called our Mayday feature. See how that pops up and that exploded? That view exploded? So you can see the change took place on my phone. It created that alert, and we also had the Mayday actually popped here along the right-hand side of the screen. Now, if you notice, I was also collapsed. So that's what's called a critical life alert. Now, all of this takes place within the accountability anchor. So it's a very, very powerful, it's not so much a feature, but it's a resource within Florian. And that creates a home for a lot of the alerts, notifications, ETAs, the zone timers, all of that lives within the accountability anchor. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clear that Mayday. So we also have the ability to go ahead and filter. So let's say we wanted to filter by an area. So we have our deployment area, which is this entire circle here. And then we also have rehab. So it also lets you know who's in a specific area. So if I were to filter and say, I want to see who is within inside rehab at the moment. Click that. Everybody else grays out except for the resources here because those are the personnel that are within that rehab area. So I'm going to get rid of the filter feature, but we also have several different uses. We can filter by altitude, we can filter by a structure, we can filter by an area, and then we can also filter by a destination because, as you know, we can send turn-by-turn directions as well. Another thing that the accountability anchor allows us to do is designate colors to different resources and teams. So if I right-click along this group rescue, you'll see I get a sub-menu that comes up. Color, floor, we can assign to a floor, we can assign to a different group, but let's just change the color for now. So let's click that, and now a secondary menu comes up that prompts us to pick a color. So I'm going to click on that, and let's say that we want to make the rescue red. We can click that, and then the plus sign is going to make that color stick. If we hit the minus sign, it'll cancel out that order. So let's just redo that again. We'll pick the color, make it red, and we'll pick the plus sign this time. So I click that. Now you see on scene, the rescue 3 is showing as red. So it's a quick way to just designate different groups or resources so that you have a quick reference point visually. Another thing is that if we want to change one of our resources, let's say here we can assign, we can make them the team lead, the group lead, we can send them to a specific coordinate, we can move them manually, we can target them, reset their deployment, which is the amount of time they've been in this operational zone. We can show their path, or we can make them leave the incident. We can make them leave the incident. So let's go ahead and let's assign them. Let's put them over into the rescue. As you see here, I'm going to scroll down to rescue. Once again, minus sign will cancel, but I'm going to go ahead and click the plus sign. And now you're going to see they pop over and they're into the rescue, and their color automatically updates as well. So there's a lot of things. I'm just going to go ahead and change them back over. Click that, their color changes back. Everybody's back to normal. So that's a nice feature, is the ability to, when they're on scene, as you're delegating assignments, you're able to change those really in real time. So if we want to send somebody, let's say that we want to send them to a specific coordinate. You see, once I click that, this nice little crosshairs comes up. Let's say we want to send them to this, this northwest corner. I can click that, and you'll see we get specific GPS coordinates. Now, this isn't address-based, this is GPS-based, so it works really, really well in wildland and other scenarios like that. So if I go ahead and click the plus sign, now you see we get a little flag. Now that person is given specific coordinates on their phone or their device that tells them exactly where to go, and that's supplied in turn-by-turn directions. So if we look at the bottom of the accountability anchor, something else is we can get our own turn-by-turn directions. So if we click this, and then we say, we want it from where we are located. This is where we're located in Buffalo, New York. See, it gives us turn-by-turn directions all the way to Niagara Falls there. So it's a very, very useful feature as well, the turn-by-turn directions. So I'm going to go ahead and undo those, and I'm going to use the focus feature to snap right back to the incident. Let's zoom in, use our focus feature, and just like that, we're back at the incident. So in just a few seconds, we're going to see the status of our ladder 1 on our attack team change. So that's been the countdown for the zone in the rehab. So we're going to see that's going to take place. Boom. So see that passive? This is why we call it passive, because see how this popped out here? It's because I had him expanded out. Now, if I go ahead and I expand the entire group out, you'll see that everybody has that. It doesn't explode them out like the Mayday feature does. It just gives you a passive notice. So here I am. I'm going to go ahead and clear these. And you're going to see I said the word Mayday again. So there I am. The Sonim phone that I'm using right now just exploded out. It's a very, very powerful feature. So those are some of the things that the accountability anchor houses and some of the ways you can use different zones and features for your timers. So thanks again and stay safe.